Hello, welcome to Sunfire Design. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try to do a different type of bloom that I've never tried before. I have seen it done. I cannot remember where I've seen it done, but instead of having like circles or petals, you do dashes. So I'd like to try that and see how it comes out. I have already mixed my resin up. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and I use Jan Chun resin, which is right here. I get it on Amazon. So I already mixed it up and I let it warm up to 30 degrees. Actually, I think it might have gone to 31 degrees while I was setting up. And I have poured a little bit aside for my white. I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna spritz these with just a little bit of alcohol to help the bubbles from, to keep them from forming in the corners. And I'm gonna go ahead and pour in my resin. So I'm not gonna fill it up all the way, but because I would like to give it a background if I can. I'm not always the best at deciding when to stop though. So we will see how this goes. I think that's good. All right. Looks, well, this one looks like it has a little bit more, but I think it's gonna be okay. All right, so I'm gonna go through and check the corners and make sure there aren't any bubbles. Just really quickly, I actually don't even see any, but it's always better to be safe than sorry. I did not realize how well the alcohol works to do that. Usually I spend a lot of time picking bubbles out of the corners, and it just wastes a lot of time. So, all right, looks like I may have gotten all of it. Fingers crossed. All right, so now I am going to go do a little torch here just to make sure I don't have any residual bubbles. All right, so now I am going to put on my alcohol inks. Now I am using a couple different alcohol inks. Some of the alcohol inks I'm using are T-Rex brand, and some of them are Brea Reese brand. And both of these can be found on Amazon. So I think for one of them, I'm gonna do yellows and orange. So this one is Sunshine Yellow from T-Rex, and I'm gonna put 2 drops in the middle because I really like yellow. And then I am going to put, I think I'm gonna do Bellini Orange from T-Rex, and I'm gonna go around that. And it actually ends up being more yellow than orange, but that's okay. It looks really pretty. All right, and the second one I'm gonna do, I think I'm gonna do turquoise and the Sunshine Yellow. So I'm gonna do 2 drops of the Sunshine Yellow in the middle, and you can see how nicely that spreads out and covers the whole thing. Now it will start moving inwards and will not be covering the whole thing anymore, but you know, it does spread nicely. All right, and I'm gonna take the turquoise and I'm gonna go around here, around the outside. I never end up getting things centered. I try, I really do try, but it never ends up being centered. So, all right, set these inks aside. I'm gonna let this continue to spread, and I'm gonna mix up my white. Now I have about 30 mils of resin in here, and it's more than what I need. But I am one of those kind of people that I would rather have more than not enough. So I'm gonna mix it up. Now my rule of thumb for when I'm doing blooms or fireworks or whatever is to use 1 drop of Cast and Craft to every 10 mils of resin. So since there are 30 mils of resin, I'm gonna do 3 drops. And I did mix this up really well, shook it so that it comes out and isn't streaky. So 3 drops, 1, 2, 3. Okay, set that aside. And I'm gonna get a stick and mix that up really, really, really well. And you want to make sure you mix it up so that there are no streaks in it and it's all nice and the white is incorporated. You can look, if you see the white, you can still see the popsicle stick through it. It's kind of like the color of skim milk, and that works out best. I mean, if you make it a little darker or a little more opaque, what happens is it ends up dropping and leaving you little clumps and blobs. And nobody wants blobs, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna pour the white into my piping bag because I do much better with a piping bag than I do with just putting it with a popsicle stick or pouring it. That's just my preferred way to do it. You can do it any way that works for you. All right, before I start, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna swirl these just to make sure that they spread out a little bit. This will add a couple bubbles in here, but since the alcohol has had time to evaporate and we're mixing it in, we are safe to use a torch to get rid of the bubbles, or whatever method you prefer. That looks really pretty. All right, and I'm gonna give it a minute for any bubbles to come up before I torch it. All right, gonna do the same here. That yellow ended up looking a little more orange in the middle, but that is okay. I still think it's gonna look really pretty. I'm excited. All right, you can see a few bubbles came in here, so I'm gonna give it a quick once over with a torch. All right, I don't recommend using alcohol to spray on it because what it does is it disperses your color and then you end up not having even color when you're trying to do your flour. All right, so I am going to prepare my piping bag. I take and I squeeze everything down so that all the white is at the tip or at the bottom. And then I just twirl it like that and kind of wrap it around. You can cut it if you want to. I'm just too lazy to do that. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, this light's not on. Maybe that helps a little bit. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a little bit off of this. I'm gonna cut it away so it doesn't go flying into my resin. Hopefully I did not cut too much off. All right, so I cut about that much off. You can see what it looks like here. I am not good with measurements to tell you how many millimeters it is. All right, so that actually is running out. Probably could have made it a little smaller, but we will deal. Hopefully we don't end up with blobbies. So, all right, I'm gonna start here and I'm just gonna make little lines. And I'm hoping that I don't end up with blobs, but I probably will. Like I said, this is an experiment. No idea how this is gonna work. I will go back in and try to spread the blobbies out. All right, I think that's probably good. Gonna put a little dot in the center so I can swirl it. All right, same here, dot in the center, and then little lines. And I'm just kind of randomly placing them. I'm trying to stagger them so that they're not all going the same, like in a line, because then they'll overlap. If it does end up blooming like I want it to, they will overlap and it won't look like petals. I don't know what it would look like. All right, I think that is all I can fit in there for now. All right, so now I'm gonna take my little silicone tool and I'm gonna try to stretch out these little blobbies here. so that I don't end up with blobs. Now, no guarantee that it's going to work, but at least I'll know that I have tried. So I'm just kind of taking and extending the ends a little bit. To eliminate the blobs. I kind of feel like I'm going to end up with blobbies. But doing something new doesn't always work out as planned. And then you learn for the next time. Like I probably would make the hole in my tip smaller so that it wasn't coming out so fast and leaving the blobbies. All right. I think that's about all I'm going to be able to do for these. I'm going to go ahead and swirl in the center. Don't know if that's going to make a difference, but we shall see, right? All right, same here. I'm going to try to stretch out my lines, at least on the ends, to make sure that they're not turning into little blobbies. I really do feel like they're going to blob on me, which makes me sad, but you know, you don't know if something's going to work until you try it. And maybe, just maybe, I will be pleasantly surprised. It would be nice if that were to happen. That's kind of what happened when I did my fireworks. I was not expecting it to work on the first time. And lo and behold, I had this gorgeous, gorgeous firework. All right, swirl that center. All right, now it's moment of truth. We'll see if this makes a flower or if it just looks like a bunch of random blobs. Time will tell. There is no way to know until time has passed. Now I'm going to leave it alone. Otherwise, I'm going to keep poking at it. And then that would be very bad thing. All right, I'm going to bring it down just so you can kind of see what's going on with this. And then we will check it out a little later, maybe this afternoon or this evening. Sorry, that light is kind of right in the way. You can see it starting to bloom out, at least around the outside. This one is not doing it quite as quickly. We'll see, maybe it'll do it, I don't know. All right, I will see you guys in a bit. All right, welcome back. It's been a few hours and I'm ready to go ahead and try to put on a background to these. I am going to be using the Let's Resin pigment paste. It's purple, called Purple. This is what the box looks like. Whoa, almost knocked that down. That would not be good. Let's Resin pigment paste, high concentration, bright colors. They are, I think the description on Amazon says, oh, it's right here. It says opaque. So it's not completely clear like an alcohol ink is, but it's not opaque like a tub of pigment paste or cast and craft or something. It's more opaque than that. So I am gonna use purple, and then if I don't think it's dark enough, I can add a little black to it. But I think purple would look really nice to these. I have no idea how they turned out. We will find that out later, probably tomorrow. But I'm gonna start off by adding 4 drops. Now this is pretty concentrated, but I also want it kind of dark. So I'm gonna add 4 drops. 2, 3, 4. And we'll start there. It's always better to start with less, and then you can add more if you need to. Oh, that's pretty. So pretty. I love purple, and I like purple with yellow together, but if you put them together, like alcohol inks together or whatever, it turns into mud. So having a purple background is the perfect way to solve that issue. All right, so this is not super dark. It looks really dark in here because it's really deep, but we're going to be putting a very thin layer across here, so it is not super dark. So I'm going to add 2 more drops of the purple. Stir that up, and if it's still not dark enough, then I will add a drop or 2 of black. The Let's Resin Opaque resin pigment pastes the black is not super highly concentrated as much as other blacks that I've used before, other black pigment pastes. So adding a drop or 2 is not going to make it go gross. All right, so that's kind of nice. Actually, I think I'm okay. I don't think I need to add any black. I'm just gonna leave it as is. All right. Just give it one last stir. Make sure it's all incorporated. All right. Alrighty, so I'm gonna pour it on there, and then I'm going to use a silicone stick to kind of move it around, because this is set, but if I stuck something in it really hard, it would leave a mark, and we don't want that. So I want to make sure they both get enough. I only mixed up about 2 ounces. I don't think it's going to use more than 2 ounces. All right, let's just leave a little bit in there, just not much, but a little bit in there just in case we don't have enough. I'm just going to kind of move it around to touch the edges, and then I can go back and add more if it's not enough. But by doing this, it keeps me, I don't scrape the bottom really hard. I don't have to tilt it and turn it around and try to get it to run to all the spots that I want it to. And it's self-leveling, assuming my table is level, which I'm going to be honest, it probably isn't. I need to get a better table. This is just a folding table, so it's not the best for this, but it's what I've got, and you got to work with what you've got, right? Okay. I feel like I put more on this coaster than I did on the other one. This is such a pretty purple. It's bright and vibrant, and I really like it. Might just seem like there's more because this is darker, so it makes it look darker. There's not really a whole lot of room left for much more. I hate to see it go to waste though. All right, I think that should be good. There are a few little bubbles here, so I am going to torch, and I will probably torch it a couple more times after I turn this off, just to make sure that I get all the bubbles, because they'll probably be moving up for the next little bit. So just want to make sure I get them, and then I'll cover it over with, I have a giant flat tote, and I cover it over to try to at least reduce the amount of hair that ends up in it. I do have pets, so it doesn't matter what I do, I end up with hair kind of in every room, in every place. So, all right, I will see you guys for the unmolding. All right, good morning. It is time to unmold these babies. Woo, I'm excited. All right, first I'm gonna do this one, which is the one that I wasn't sure if it was gonna work out. So let's see if I can get this loosened here. Such a pretty purple background, I love it. All right, let's see how badly this turned out. I just am so worried about it. Huh, all right, well, not bad, but super, super clumpy, which is sad, but it kind of did what I wanted it to do out here. I think by the time I got to doing this one, my resin had had enough and it was ready to go night-night. So that one did not work as well as I had hoped, but it's still pretty. All right, let's see about this one. Fingers crossed this one turned out better. This is the first one I did, so I think the resin might have been on task, should we say. All right, here we go. Oh, wow, that came out pretty. That came out really pretty. It's got a couple clumpies, but it gives it dimension. It makes it look like the petal's coming out and then up. So cool. Now that's kind of neat. It's a different technique to try. I'm gonna put this background here so you can see it better. Well, you know what? I think this method has potential. So we'll see, and maybe I'll give it a shot again and see if I can get it to work a little bit better, but not bad for a first try, right? All right, well, thank you for watching. I appreciate you being here, and have a wonderful day. Bye.